Hi guys, I'm Yijiao. This is my first vlog for my week 4 coursework of MCS 204, and this week I'm going to talk about why and mashup. I'm going to start from the reading regressive and the reflexive mashup in sampling culture by Eduardo Navas. Navas introduced the concept and culture of remix in very detail, and he divided the remix into many different types. But I'm not going to review all the types by following their sequence in the reading now. What I'm going to do is to select some important types to analyze and to examine their meaning for new media culture. What is remix? According to the definition given by Navas, the remix is an activity that combines two different things together and for fun, for creativity, or for the efficient exchange of information. And this kind of activity is always be accessible by the digital technology. The remix in music area usually include extended remix, selective remix, and reflexive remix. And for the two former remixes, they all aim to build a spectacular auras, which means, for my understanding, which means a bunch of songs, and they are added together in one song, and to simulate the audience feel excited and comfortable in when they hearing so many popular and familiar songs. Now is the reflexive remix, the third one, which is different from the former two types because it just aims to challenge the spectacular aura of the songs, and which means it only remain the title, the name of the original material, the original song. So for Navas, only the concept of remix was remain, and it allows people to feel different content into this form, and thus the remix just become a cultural form which can be used not only in the music area but beyond that. So because of this reason, the remix is promoted to be seen as a discourse by the reflexive remix. Now we go back to see the challenge of spectacular arrow by reflexive remix. What I'm going to emphasize here is that it does not mean the allegorical impulse is not at play in the reflexive remix anymore, because it still need to be allegorized as an adapted version of the original material in order to be considered as a remix but not a new. So what is the difference between reflexive remix and the two formal types of remix is that it still depends on authority, but at the same time, is autonomy and identity. Another important type is the regenerative remix, according to Navas, which is specific to the new media and network culture. The most obviously difference of the regenerative remix from the other three types is that it aims to subvert the originality. It's not aimed to be recognized by the pre-existing materials, but aimed to reorganize them and then to make itself functional. So now was mentioned the Google News as example. When people reading the news from the Google News, they usually don't care what the news is from. They only care about what happened. So the Google News is a kind of the regenerative remix, and it emphasizes on informing people what happened around them, emphasize on its functionality. So the Google News reflects another very important feature of the regenerative remix is that the periodic change and constant update. So this feature open more possibility for remix and help it exist across many kinds of medias, and also help it to be seen as a discourse. This discourse can be analyzed by the example as web application mashup. So when we talk about mashup, we need to firstly divide it into two types. The first type is the regressive mashup. The second type is the reflexive mashup. First type of mashup is very easy to understand. It's the regressive mashup. It's just based on the music mashup, which means to remix two or more popular songs together in order to stimulate the listener or dancer to feel excited. It then goes right into many other forms of mass culture, and for Navas, it's only made for entertainment. And of course, this kind of mashups need to be recognized according to the allegorical authority. The purpose of the second mashup, which is the reflexive mashup, is totally different from the first one. The reflexive mashup is aimed to be functional, which I think is just similar to the regenerative remix. Actually, according to Navas, he thinks the reflexive mashup just part of the regenerative remix. The reflexive mashup is the most influential one among other types of mashup, and it mainly exists in the form of web application mashup. Navas used the pipes by Yahoo as an example to explain what is the web application mashup, and I think the Twitter is another very good example because by using Twitter we can customize to receive what kind of news, and by following the different account and person. So Twitter is actually very functional in delivering information. And Twitter also reflects a very interesting point, which is also mentioned by Navas in the reading. Um, it's a matter about regressive or reflexive. I mean, if we mainly use Twitter to follow the celebrities and to social with our friends, then the web application mashup could be regressive because it's mainly used for entertainment. However, if we use it in a very professional way, I mean to post very serious or academic information and to discuss it with the other person working in the same area, then it could be very reflexive. Um, just like what I'm doing now, I post my review on each week's reading of MCS 204, and this is not for entertainment, I think. So it could be a reflexive web application mashup. So what I'm going to say here is to make a mashup be entertainment or be regressive or reflexive, sometimes to some extent it's just a personal choice. So after I have analyzed the reflexive remix, the regenerative remix, and the reflexive mashup, I would like to go back to think more about the regenerative remix. It is about what Navas mentioned at the end of the reading, the commercialize of the web application mashup. So I'm going to ask, what is the value of the mashup to be commercialized? According to Navas, firstly, it is because of the principle of remix, which is the cut or copy and paste. Well, through the endless repetition of this principle, the company just remind of the consumer what to buy, what to consume. And secondly, it is about the constant updating of the web application mashup. Uh, well, Navas think the popular product is designed to easily be forgotten. So soon or later, the products will be reintroduced into consumer along with remixing some new elements and as a ritual. In my opinion, I think there is a third reason. I just found that from the first week, no matter the memes, GIF or glitch art, they all can't avoid to be commercialized, and I think it is because they all born in the ground of the internet as well as in the ground of capital society. So the capitalists just found them, from the embodiment of the new media culture, have a very strong power to engage or to play with the consumer. So they think it's a very good way to use it to influence the consumer about their thought. Um, So in conclusion, I think that's why the new media culture now is quite close related to the consumer culture. Okay, this is the end of my first vlog. Thanks for watching. See you next week.